Today's episode is presented by the first trailer for A24's highly anticipated next horror event, Backrooms. A furniture store owner vanishes after discovering a mysterious doorway in his basement that leads to an endless network of interconnected rooms. From Kane Parsons, the preeminent creator of the Backrooms YouTube series, this tense psychological horror thriller explores the suffocating dread of liminal spaces and the unknown lurking behind them. Watch the trailer now for Backrooms and see it in theaters May 29th.
And welcome to Scare You to Sleep. I'm your host, Shelby Novak, and I'm here to relay to you some terrifying stories I've found around the website, reddit.com. If you missed it earlier this week, I came out with an April Fool's Day episode called Game You to Sleep. It's in the same silly vein as my previous April Fool's Day episode, Shampoo You to Sleep. So if you're in the mood for me gently reading to you some video game walkthroughs, lore, old magazine articles about Nintendo, and descriptions of video game levels, then please enjoy. So in the last episode of Dark Reddit, I asked if people were fans of the themed episodes that I've been doing. And there were a good amount of yeses, but a few did say that you missed the more eclectic episodes. So, that is what I have for you tonight. Just a mishmash of weird and strange and scary, with a cameo from a past Dark Reddit. Okay, are you ready to get lost with me? Let's go. So this is a subreddit that I don't believe I've ever explored on this show before. It's called Casual Conversation. And as the title suggests, it has a range of topics, mostly not strange or paranormal, but you know me. I will sniff out creepy stories everywhere I go. So I found this post from a year ago by ToasterBath404. They titled it, "What's something creepy/bizarre that you're like 99% sure you saw, but have no way of proving? Like, what's something that one time in your life you swear you saw with your own eyes, and you're sure it wasn't a dream or hallucination and have no way to prove it, since it's so unrealistic or bizarre or fictional?" Now, my dear listener, as soon as I scrolled down, I could not believe my eyes, and a chill went up my spine because an old friend was there to greet me. From user Be Good or Be Good at It, with this little anecdote. When I was a kid, we used to have frosted glass in our living room door. Mom and Dad used to tape the door shut on Christmas Eve because my older brothers were terrors. I got up in the night to go to the toilet. I couldn't have been any older than 6, maybe. I remember walking past the living room door and seeing this big red figure standing in the room. I couldn't believe my eyes. Lots of laugh emojis. Imaginations, eh? Yes, that's right. The egregore that is Santa Claus has reared his head once again. And don't worry, this won't be Santa Claus themed. This was genuinely just the first response on this post. And that got a reply from Agile Hawk 7391, who said, "I heard the prancing and pawing of each little hoof and jingling bells while lying in bed. Shut my eyes quick to pretend to be asleep as to not ruin it for everyone. I have no idea to this day what I heard. My parents were not the type to bother with roof noises. And one more quick one, another reply from Reasonable Horse 1552. We all spent Christmas with my parents' friends one year, and I was in bed and heard sleigh bells and banging on the roof. All 4 of us children heard it. We went running downstairs, and all 4 adults were sitting there in the living room. Santa Claus haunts me. It actually it freaks me out, the amount of stories that are out there, and the fact that I just learned this past Christmas, and now it's everywhere. Anyway, let's move on. It's in the same post, but there are some more very weird, inexplicable stories. This is a very sweet and sad one from Mike E. Perez. I was 15 when my toddler cousin passed away from a long illness. When we learned he was at the end of his life, my family and I drove the 4 hours to be with him and his parents. We stayed at their house while they stayed at the hospital. The day he passed, my mom and I were in his bedroom at home. My mom was sitting in his rocking chair, cradling his little sneakers and crying, while I lay curled up on the floor beside her. Suddenly, I felt what I knew was my cousin pouncing on me. I spent summers with him when he was well, and we would play like that. I'd lay on the floor, he'd pounce, grab my ribs, and rock me back and forth and giggle. What I felt that day was exactly the same. I thought my mom was nudging me with her feet, but when I looked up, she was just crying silently. I even winced when it happened because I had recently been in the hospital myself with appendicitis. I just expected to hear him laughing. Now I just chalk it up to grief. But it was so real. I love stories like this. These are some of my favorite paranormal stories, just like little goodbyes from people. And they're so inexplicable. And so many people have experienced them. So many people who don't generally believe in paranormal things, and I don't know, there are a few more. Like this person, Spiral Stream 6789, replied and said, I had a similar physical experience at my best friend's funeral. He was really tall and gave the tightest hugs ever. At the funeral, I was sitting there sobbing my eyes out during the photo slideshow and felt this very real squeezing sensation, as if he'd come up from behind to hug me around my chest. It lasted for several seconds, just like his real hugs would. I really do think he came to comfort me one last time. I've had a lot of recent sort of bad news and scares with people close to me and family members when it comes to health, and it's been a really heavy feeling lately. So stories like this, they all make me want to cry, but they also bring me a lot of comfort. And yeah, it's just been a really heavy time in my life lately. So this next story, I love this one. It's from Weird John. My daughter was a baby when my grandma passed. Her crib was in our room, and one night, she woke up around 2 a.m. and sounded like she was playing and giggling when she usually would cry after waking up. Well, the next day, I found out my grandma passed at around 1:50 a.m. I like to imagine she came to visit her great-granddaughter. And I think that's a really nice thought. Here's one that's a little more fun and silly than the last one. This was posted by, this is a reply by Micah Torrance, and this is still in that same what's something creepy and bizarre that you can't explain post. My wife and I were out for a walk in the evening. As we neared some railroad tracks, we waited and watched a train go by. This was no ordinary train. It belonged to a circus. We saw elephants, horses, zebras, and giraffes with their long necks rising out of their car. Both of us would swear that we saw this and talked about it for years. Then one day, it hit me. 10 miles back, the train tracks ran through a tunnel. I don't imagine that the giraffes would duck. Perhaps what we saw was a painting of giraffes and maybe the other animals too, but at that time, we were both convinced that what we saw was real. And someone replied, maybe there was a circus train accident there at some point and you two saw ghosts of the animals that were in the train. I might need to write another ghost story. This next one is interesting. It has to do with one of my favorite topics, past lives. This is by Wouldn't It Be Lovely? Oh, I get it. That's cute. That's a cute username. 1960, Mom and Grandma were in the kitchen. I was not quite 5 years old. I was precocious, and Mom sometimes would quiz me to show off to her mother how smart I was. That day, I asked them who I was when I was somebody else. I told them I remembered when I was 43 years old, I drove a dark green Oldsmobile. I traveled a lot for my job and had a 9-year-old little boy whom I missed a lot when I was away working, and what this man's house looked like and other such details of this person's life. They told me it was nothing, that I should never tell anyone else about it because people would say I was crazy, and you know what they do to crazy people? Generally scaring the hell out of me. So I didn't forget it, but I never actively thought about it much and never told anyone else about it. Till just now. I love that. I love weird. Again, I've talked about it. I just talked about it in the Q&A episodes I did. If you didn't listen to those, which I don't blame you. It's okay if you don't want to know that much about me. But a few people asked if I knew what I was in a past life or if I believed in past lives. There were a few past life questions. And I find stories like this really fascinating. I did have a few of you tell me what you thought I was in a past life too. Someone says they thought I was in hospitality or owned like an antique shop. I love that. I forgot. There were a couple others. But if you didn't listen to that one and you have an idea of what I might have been in a past life, I'd love to know. There were a few replies to that one about investigate people, how the University of Virginia has been investigating accounts of reincarnation, and people who say they just love stories like that. But this one is from Bo Jenny, and they said, my granddaughter swore from the time she started really talking that she had a sister. She had all these details about her, what she looked like, her cats, her likes and dislikes. This sister was absolutely real to her in every way. She would even cry to go to her sister's house. When she was 4, she told me her sister was going to go away and not come back anymore. I asked her if she felt sad, and she said no. We will be together next time. Ugh. Again, I don't know what it is. I don't have any answers, but the tugs on my heartstrings. I really loved this post because it's such as this episode is a more eclectic one, this post is so eclectic. Like, this next entry is from a deleted user, and they said, an appliance I was using, and when I realized it wasn't plugged in, it stopped working. Which is such a weird thing to happen. I think that's a perfect thing to put in something like this. I feel like it feels so real. I've talked about on the show before, true, like, strange experiences, whether it be with ghosts or glitches in the Matrix or time slips. A lot of times they're not very long stories. It's like one small detail in life that is so strange and unexplainable, and it's stuff like this. Like, I don't know, that feels like something out of a dream. Like you're using it, and as soon as you become aware of it, it stops. Almost like sometimes when you're dreaming, like I lucid dream a lot. Sometimes when I become aware I'm dreaming, instead of getting to be within the lucid dream, it's because my brain is waking up, so I then just kind of wake up, and it's like, oh darn, and it's like that. Like, okay, and they said it later on that it was an iron they were using. And of course people are like debunking it, like, if it was an iron, it could have been hot enough to keep using for a little while after you yanked the plug out without noticing. That's the explanation I'll adopt, so I can keep happily living in the Matrix. This next one is one that I heavily relate to, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on the show before because I think others have mentioned it, and I've been like, oh, me too. So this is from Volume Significant 714, and they said, I dream things that come true, not like in a clairvoyant way and never anything important, just several seconds of something kind of like I'm standing at a particular angle somewhere I've never been before, and the person next to me has a magazine open to a specific page as a particular vehicle passes by type of thing. And it's usually a spot-on remembering of having dreamed it, though occasionally there are some differences, like it's happening in an alternate universe where the walls are a different color or something. Most people would chalk it up to deja vu, but I can usually pinpoint almost exactly when I dreamed it, whether it was several days, weeks, or months prior. It's super weird, and there's no way to prove what's in my head. Edited to add, it doesn't happen super often, maybe 1 to 4 times a year. And a lot of people replied to this with being able to relate to it. Steampunk Robin said, I do the same thing. It's like a random snapshot or short clip of a usually unimportant moment in the future. And then user Cat on a Chandelier said, LOL, another useless clairvoyant here. My visions are never anything important. It's always something stupid like, oh look, you're going to find this totally random acorn on this particular park bench 60 yards from the nearest tree or something. Just once, I want lottery numbers. That's all I ask. And I have done the same thing. I'm sure it's something to do with how our brains work. I don't know. Again, time is not linear. Maybe it's something like that. I just had a big woo realization this week that I'm not even going to get into. I already told a friend about it, and it was just a really strange moment. But I've had that too, where I've dreamt about like something that I'll be driving by in a car, and it'll be a place I've never been. And sure enough, I'll go to a specific place I've never been before, like a city far away or whatever. And it's like, and it's not like a landmark, it'll be like a random side street, and it's a very quick snapshot of like a certain building with a certain hill behind it or something. And I'll even, like the first person said, I even remember when I dreamt it. Like, wait, I remember having that dream, this night, like this many months ago, and this and that. And it's so it's so useless. I love the term useless clairvoyant, because it's not like you get there and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm doing well, and they say, a lot of people say, like, when you experience deja vu, it means you're on the right path, which is a nice thought. And I guess I can just keep that in mind. Like, oh, if this happened, I guess I'm doing something right. This next one is pretty fun. This is from Big Papa Geek. I was in Fiji on a mission trip when I was 16. Incredible experience, but I'm no longer religious, so I have mixed feelings. We were living and working on a remote island for 4 weeks, and one Saturday we took a boat to an even more remote island to go to the Sawaila Caves. The caves were incredible, but I was climbing around the rocks outside when I leaned under an overhang and saw, well, I'm not sure. What it looked like were the legs of a giant crab, and I mean giant. They looked at least 3 feet long, and the only crab I know of that has legs like that is the Japanese spider crab, and they live in the deep ocean. But the legs pulled back / scuttled away, and I backed off, deeply unsettled. I never really told anyone because I thought they wouldn't believe me, but I knew what I saw. Someone does say that coconut crabs are native to Fiji, and they get pretty huge, and they do. They're pretty scary looking, as Amelia Earhart would know, but they also threw in, I believe you. Oh, I love this one. This is different than anything I've ever seen. This is Cat on a Chandelier, who had a reply to something earlier. I saw my kid's best friend's imaginary friend. So, when my daughter was little, she and her best friend both had spiders as imaginary friends, and their imaginary friends could visit each other and talk. After my daughter's friend moved across the country, one day I go to clean my daughter's room and notice this huge, I mean the size of a sparrow at least, purple and orange spider just chillin' on the windowsill. I am not a spider fan, so my first instinct is to scream and throw a roll of paper towels at it while booking it out the door. When I went back in a few minutes later, the spider was gone, and I spent hours looking. I did not want that thing in my house. I could write that off as completely normal. Maybe it was some kind of corn spider. They get pretty big, right? That's what I thought too, until I call my daughter's friend's mom so the girls can talk. And the first thing my daughter's best friend says is, "Why do you throw paper towels at Kipling? He was just watching you." Yeah, I freaked out a little. I still give big spiders a wide berth, but I've learned not to automatically try to squish them, just in case. I've really got to stop recording these at night, because some of these, I'm scrolling through. This post is really long, by the way. I will have it linked in the show notes. There's no way I can go through all of it on the show, especially I have another post I want to get to. And some of them are like really scary. Like they are giving me the heebie-jeebies. Listen to this one. This is by Susanna Star 2000. I saw a man in my room one night. I was not sleeping, as I remember seeing the light in the hallway. I still remember what he looked like. He had super white skin, cold dark eyes, black hair, and was dressed all in black. He hovered above my bed a foot or so for what seemed like a few minutes, then disappeared. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. Oh, here. Very next one by Aaron C. About 15 years ago, I used to live in an older house with my then boyfriend when we first started dating. The vibe was creepy. It felt uncomfortable a lot of the time. I used to swear I heard whistling in the early morning when I was getting ready for work. I convinced myself it must have been the pipes or the heater or something. One morning, I was walking past the hallway, and there was an old lady on the ceiling, her back to the ceiling, looking down at me. I saw her out of the corner of my eye while walking fast, and it took me a few steps to process what I'd seen. When I stopped and backtracked the last few steps to the hallway, there was nothing there. I never told anyone, not even my boyfriend I shared the house with. I didn't think he'd believe me. He'd tell me I was just seeing things. About a year ago, my now husband and I were reminiscing, and we talked about the creepy first house we rented and how far we had come. He said, "I never told you, but I used to swear I'd see an old lady on the ceiling by the steps. She was always looking at me with the angriest face." So, ... Yeah. Goosebumps everywhere. Oh my god. Again, I gotta stop recording these at night. It's so stupid of me. Oh, this happened to me too at one time. God, no experience is unique, is it? This is from Nobodyville. I was driving to the airport with a relative while it was dark out. I can't remember if it was very late or very, very early. I swear I came upon an accident on the freeway with a body lying in the road. I Googled around for reports of an accident for a long time after that and never found anything. The whole thing seems surreal and unlikely, so I feel like I imagined it or it was some kind of debris which I mistook for a body. Very strange. So I have a story. There was several Christmases ago, my ex and I had we decided to visit both of our families for Christmas. So we had gone to visit his family in Mississippi, and we had to go to Walmart we had to pick something up from Walmart. We were leaving Walmart, and we had to go through there was a bank in the same parking lot as the Walmart. And for some reason, we had to go around that way in the car as we were driving out of the parking lot. And as we were driving by, I don't remember how we ended up there, but we noticed there were actually a bunch of police cars and an ambulance. And there was a woman sitting in front of the bank, on the curb, just being comforted and wailing. Absolutely wailing. And we noticed there's a truck in the parking lot that her husband, from what we could hear from people talking, had taken his own life in this parking lot. There was blood. It was a horrific scene. Fast forward to not even a week later, It was really horrific. I remember, this is what was strange. It was the way everyone else around us reacted. And I remember my ex also had this, was like, this is so weird. I mean, obviously it's a tragedy, but you'll see why the whole thing was weird. I'm not trying to be callous. It's the way everyone around us was reacting to everything. It was just this strange thing. So we got back to his parents and we were like explaining what we had seen. It was traumatic. We had no idea we would stumble upon something like this on accident, just trying to get out of a fucking parking lot, you know? And it was like it's like no one really like reacted as you would think they would, coming home and being like, this is what we just saw. Can you believe it? No one really reacted very crazy. Like they didn't react in the way you would think anyway. And we're like, I don't know, maybe are we like overreacting? You know, like, I don't know. Cut to, we went and visited my family. I've mentioned I'm from the very deep part of the desert. You can look it up. It's called Imperial, California. Shout out if you're listening from there. And you have to take this freeway or highway. It's the 86. And it goes through the middle of the desert. And there's a little more development out there now. There's like Salton City, but for most years of my life, there was like nothing. You go through just empty stretches of desert. So we were driving back from my parents after Christmas in the middle of the night. And it was, we came upon an accident, just like this person said, this person said they came upon an accident. They said they came upon an accident in this freeway with a body laying in the road. There was a big accident. It was like an SUV involved, like an Explorer. It was like white. Most cars down there are white. Everybody has a fucking white car down there. But like it was a white, like this big Explorer, like a big SUV, one of the bigger SUVs, and another car that was off to the side. There were people on the side of the road, like standing, like, you know, conferring. No police were there yet. It was like this had just happened, and it was the middle of the night, so there really weren't a lot of this stretch of road, by the way, is usually, there's no traffic. Like it's a pretty empty stretch of road even during the day. So in the middle of the night, it's pretty empty and it's dark. It's the middle of the desert. There's no light out there other than the stars and the moon. And so we could see through our headlights people off to the side. And I remember telling my ex, because he was driving, and being like, you need to slow down. Oh my God, you need to slow down. And I saw a body, a man's body to the left. First, as our headlights picked up on, before we even saw the whole accident, I saw our headlights pick up on like a shoe and a hat. And I swear to God, an arm. And I was like, oh my God. And I freaked out. He swerved around all of the stuff in the road. Then we saw glass. Then we kind of came upon, again, it's so dark. And we came upon this accident. And I saw a man off to the side with like his arm gone, and he was not alive. And the cars were just completely totaled, and there were a few people standing off to the side with the one car. It's like one car they were able to get it off the road, and there were a few people standing there. No emergency services had reached there yet, which it takes a while. It's very remote in the desert. And I immediately I remember I think I called my parents, and I remember going on Facebook. I know that sounds crazy, but I was trying to find, like, I remember saying, like, I posted on Facebook just because I was like freaking out, and I felt like I needed to like tell someone, I don't know. And I was like, if anyone's driving out, and I had a lot of people, it was my old Facebook account where like I had a lot of people from my hometown still on there. And I was like, if you're driving on the 86, going this way, then like please watch out for this accident. I don't know what happened. It was really, and I think I even put in there like it's really traumatizing. And again, we were like, what is happening? This is just days after we saw the other traumatizing scene. And once again, like no one really reacted the way that we thought they should. And I looked for weeks for any report of that accident, and because it was so graphic. And like I remember there was like the scene, I won't get into a lot of detail, there was like more, I already did pretty bad, but there was a lot more gore at the scene. And I don't know why we didn't stop either. It was so strange. Like, I couldn't tell you now why we didn't stop. I remember screaming and wondering if we should stop. And like, I don't know if it was maybe not my decision not to stop. I wasn't driving. I don't know. It's been too long. But I remember posting about it, and it was just, I don't know. It was just, I never found anything about it. There was never any report of it. I have law enforcement in my family. Never anything about it. It felt like it just didn't happen. I even had a friendship breakup over these weird experiences. This person I was friends with, she was very upset, like, that I, like, kind of went through a little bit of a, like, right afterwards, she's like, why didn't you, call me right as you got back to town? And I spent Christmas alone and this and that. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, we saw this crazy stuff and blah, blah. And like, it was just so strange. And she was like, had absolutely no sympathy. Like, she was just like, it was like, I wasn't even, it was like she couldn't even hear what I was saying. It was the strangest experience. And I swear, if I had been by myself, I would question if any of this even happened, but I wasn't by myself. Anyway, that's a long story about me, but yeah, this one popping up, it's just so strange. Like I said, I've never seen anyone else say this happened to them, and it happened to me too. I don't know if it's like maybe a time slip. I don't know. Okay, and to round out our episode, I wanted to switch to a different post, or a couple different posts, and talk about one of my favorite phenomena. And that is time slips. This is also from the subreddit Casual Conversation, and this was posted by Always Breakin' Balls 98, and it was only posted 4 months ago. And they said, anyone ever experienced a time slip? So when I was young and staying over at my mom's friend's house, it was nighttime, but not bedtime, and I remember hearing this loud pop, and then the room went dark to light. I looked around at the clock and saw it was morning. The logical explanation is that I fell asleep, but my head was never on the bed. I vividly remember sitting upright on the bed, looking at the wall. All the noise happened, then I spun around to face the hallway, and everything was changed to morning. It sounds unbelievable, I know, but has this sort of thing happened to anyone else? So before I get to, some people had some pretty good explanations for this, like scientific ones, not paranormal ones, but someone else had a very similar story. I can't pronounce that one, 4 months ago, said, had something similar happen when I was around 7 or 8 years old. I was sitting up in bed at night, kind of just absent-mindedly looking out the window because the tree branches against the dark sky always looked cool with all their different shapes moving in the breeze. I blink and suddenly it's morning and the sun is out, and I'm still sitting in the same position. I remember just sitting there so confused, thinking how I didn't go to sleep, but since it's morning, I guess that I will get up and go have breakfast. Like, I knew it made absolutely no sense, but there wasn't anything I could do about it. One moment it's night, and in a single instant, it's daytime. That's just the way it was. Never really could wrap my head around it, but it's something that stuck with me for the last couple of decades. I would say I just fell asleep and didn't realize it, but I was sitting upright, and I distinctly remember looking out my window from my bed the whole time. There was never any point where I laid down or sat back up. And the original poster said, that sounds very similar. And someone else said, yeah, I distinctly remember this happening when I was young too. They didn't put in a full story, but yeah. And so someone else, connect_rhubarb395, said, hearing a loud bang you think was real, but it was in your sleep, is a very common and well-known phenomenon. As for time suddenly having passed, it sounds like you had an absence seizure. That, or you were extremely tired, which can lead to sleeping almost without dreaming, which can feel like no time has passed. And Affectionate Blood 26 said, exploding head syndrome, which I have heard of. That's when you sometimes hear a loud bang in your sleep. It's happened to me before, but not since I was a kid. And Blake and White said, wait, are you saying it's not typical to sleep and feel as though no time has passed once you wake up? And Jacqueline Meoff said, I think that itself is very common, but what isn't common is to feel that way to such an extreme that you don't think you were ever asleep because you didn't experience, for lack of a better word, waking up. There are plenty of times I sleep and it feels like I just closed my eyes, but I also know I was asleep because I knew what it felt like to wake up. So, there's a reasonable explanation for everyone. There are a few people who kind of explain that they've experienced losing a whole day. Like, they go to an appointment on Tuesday and it turns out it's actually Wednesday and they miss their appointment. And there were a few people who said that they've lost full days before. One person said they had a terrible cold when it happened, which makes sense. But I don't know if I've ever lost a whole day, but I have heard of a lot that happening to a lot of people. Like, people have relayed that to me where they don't realize they've lost a day. And that must be so discombobulating. And a lot of the comments aren't sharing their own stories, but they're saying, have you been checked for seizures? I think it was a seizure. So I don't know anything about seizures. So it's interesting, though. It's really fascinating. But there are also a lot of stories of people who said that same thing happened to them when they were kids, just blinking and it was morning, or not even and it was morning. So I wanted to share a couple more time slip stories for you from a different post. This is from good old Ask Reddit from 5 years ago. Consult Jim Moriarty is the username. And he said, serious, people of Reddit, have you ever experienced a time slip? What happened and what was it like? I love this one. She's dead, Jim is the username. My friend and I were driving around spotting deer, and a usually empty field on a back road was lit up like someone lit a small sun in it. We got a little bit closer and it went dark, and when we checked our phones after, 3 hours had passed, despite the encounter lasting maybe 30 seconds. I don't talk about it because people think I'm crazy or lying when I do. Also, when I was in a coma, 4 days was like 4 years in my dreams. Someone asked if they remembered those dreams, and they never responded. It's pretty creepy. That one makes me feel like the guy from that show where it's just like aliens. It's like, feels like a pretty classic alien story. I love this one because, again, it's like one of those little simplistic things that happens that is so inexplicable, but like it's so mundane too. I like bananas no homo says, well, one time I put a Hot Pocket in the microwave. I turn around to walk away, and as soon as I do, the microwave beeps. I thought I accidentally made it to 2 seconds or something, but it was hot and ready. And someone asked if he was high, and he said no, I was like 12, LOL. Stuff like that just I just love it so much. There's another one in the same subreddit that says one time from restaurant no number 7749 that said one time after weeks of not sleeping. I mean, it is weeks of not sleeping. I finally found time to lay down. I stare up at the ceiling, blinked, and suddenly it was 12 hours later. I refuse to believe I just fell asleep because it didn't feel like I'd woken up. Also, I toss and turn a lot no matter how exhausted I am. Everything was exactly where it had been when I laid down. To this day, I don't know what happened there. Aspiring Polyglot said, near my city, there's a nice path surrounded by nature, but not at all isolated. You will always meet other people who are walking, running, or riding their bikes. Once I went for a walk on this path. Usually it takes me just an hour to complete the path and get back home. But this time, I arrived at home 2.5 hours later, and I still don't know why it took me so much. I don't remember stopping at any point of the walk. I just kept walking and listening to music on my phone. And I think that's a nice one to leave off on for tonight. So I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this evening. If you'd like to follow the show, you can follow me on Instagram at scareyoutosleep or me personally at Shelby B. Novak. You can submit your stories to scareyoutosleep@gmail.com. You can join the Patreon page, patreon.com/scareyoutosleep. What else? I don't know. I think that's all. I don't have much to say tonight. Like I said, life's been a little heavy lately, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate having a place to go to talk about all this weird shit. And thank you for listening to my weird story that I don't know if I've ever told on the show, or I definitely haven't told many people in IRL, but I don't know. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And again, I'll see you next week. And go get some sleep. Sweet dreams.
Got you. Herb, Bud?
The Adventures of Bud and Herb.
It's back, and it brought friends.
An immersive audio fiction, actual play hybrid, where cozy mystery collides with creeping horror.
The peepee just froze inside my body, Herb. That ain't natural, man.
Amateur cryptid hunters.
Donnie, the locked-on-ill monster. Wouldn't it be amazing if we actually saw him?
Professional bad decision makers.
There's gonna be a lot of puke all over the place any second now.
Not the ones you want,
To be honest, we weren't sure if anybody was listening.
but the ones you deserve on the case.
Y'all do know this is an investigative funcast, right?
And a living world powered by Daggerheart RPG.
It's such a good story. It flames, seriously.
From Cinderwood Studios and Fable and Folly. Listen anywhere you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Hunger.